Acolyte is here, and like most Disney Star Wars, it doesn't disappoint. It's laughable from the very first moment.
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
Disney and Star Wars have a tumultuous relationship. Since their unholy union in 2012, fans have been less than enthused with their offerings. The films, while initially big, petered off quickly, then Star Wars made the jump to television. Again, things started out big with The Mandalorian, but like all things Disney, the show somehow got worse, and now we have The Acolyte. This series here on WCBS will recap the episode so you don't have to watch the show to get involved with the conversation, and will also give you a look at the early discourse surrounding each episode. So join us next Wednesday, same world-class time, same world-class bullshit, for a review of the third episode. Though to be honest, if this doesn't pick up, I'll be sleeping through the rest of the season. Oh, and if it's not obvious to anyone else, I'll call on my Girl River song to tell you.
Spoilers.
So with that in mind, let's talk about the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte. But before we do, today's video is brought to you by me, Jeff Hicks, and my newest graphic novel, Wokebusters. Don't you just hate wokeness and the toll it takes on society? Well, bust it with Wokebusters! Set in a world where outrage turns people into literal monsters, Wokebusters follows the 4 men who step up to save society from itself. It's funny, colorful, and action-packed. This 100-page epic is only available on Kickstarter for a limited time, so act now before the clock runs out and wokeness wins. Got outrage? Call Wokebusters. Episode 1 of The Acolyte, titled Lost and Found, begins in a bar. There, we see a cloaked individual asking around, looking for a Jedi. Her questions start a bar fight. She quickly finds her Jedi. It's Carrie Ann Moss. What follows is a fight to the death as Carrie Ann Moss is killed by a throwing knife. Yes, a Jedi is killed by a throwing knife because she was distracted using the Force. Disney does not understand the Force still. Also, it's incredibly weird to kill Carrie Ann Moss as she's the focal point for all advertising. Folks, this isn't Janet Leigh in Psycho, it's just kinda sad. Also too, if it sounds like we're moving quickly, well, the show moves quickly. After the bar fight, we then see a cloaked figure wake up on a Trade Federation ship that she works on. Her name is Osha, and she's a mechanic. Not a mechanic, but a mechanic. She's essentially a human astromech droid, so her job will be replaced in the future by a computer. While we're early in this video, can we talk about her name for a second too? Osha? Seriously? She's named after the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. For our international audience, OSHA is a federal agency in the United States government that ensures safe and healthy working conditions by settling and enforcing standards and providing training, outreach, and education for assistance. For context, that would be like naming other characters NATO or NASDAQ or FOMO. Master Jedi FOMO Kenobi reporting for duty. The distracting name aside, the distracting character is arrested by the Jedi because they think she killed the Jedi played by Carrie Ann Moss. Aboard the prison ship, the prisoners escape, leaving her behind. The ship crashes into an asteroid and hurtles towards Earth. It's ripped apart, but our hero is fine because she wore her safety belt. Even in Star Wars, folks, it's wise to click it or tick it. After the crash, she has a trauma-filled revelation, which sees her go to the edge of a cliff. As she's about to fall off the cliff, the Jedi save her, and they take her in. We then see the hooded person from earlier talking to a Sith who looks a lot like Kylo Ren and tells her an Acolyte can get revenge. Then, the credits roll. Episode 2 of The Acolyte begins on Olega, a planet with another Jedi temple. Here, our hooded Avenger meets her next target, a Jedi who has been meditating for over a decade. She tries everything to attack him. The Force, weapons, martial arts, nothing can break his meditative state. Then she goes to an apothecary to get some poison. After returning with the poison, the hooded person then plays everyone's least favorite card, the guilt card. She then tells the Jedi she knows what he did last summer. She knows what he did to her. The Jedi then breaks his decade-long silence to look at the girl, apologize, and willingly drink the poison. This guy must have been guilty of something really heinous. What possibly could it be? Well, this inept show tells you, but let's get past the limpest twist since Liberace. There are twins on this show. There was a fire and the Jedi saved Osha, but not the evil twin with the longer dreads, May. The show just conveniently glosses over the fact that May started the fire. It was her fault. It was always burning since the world's been turning, and now May is angry. She's not scarred from the ordeal, but she's angry, and she thinks that they, the Jedi, killed her sister. But that's just not the case. Throughout the course of the first 2 episodes, the 2 main characters learn the truth that neither of the sisters are dead. At this point, the show should just end. May's reasoning for killing the Jedi has been resolved. There's no need for revenge, or the next 6 episodes. Apparently, the big surprise is that the Acolyte is about twins. We've never had twins in Star Wars before. This is really cool. So after the meditating Jedi with the bad hairline dies, the other Jedi find his body and realize his death had to be caused by Osha's twin sister, May. Somehow they didn't acknowledge it until this very moment, but we kinda all knew. After May tries to escape, she's confronted by Jedi Master Sol, the only character worth a damn in this series. After their martial arts standoff goes nowhere, May escapes, but before she can, she comes face to face with Osha. She asks about their other sisters, Nasa and Awal, but it's useless. What actually happens is May steals a car and Osha fires a gun at her. The Jedi then talk to the man who sold May the poison. After that, we're whisked away to the lush planet Kofar, where we meet our first Wookiee Jedi on film. That scene goes nowhere as the Wookiee scares off two hunters, then walks into its front door, and the credits roll. The episode sort of just ends. There was definitely something cut here because the ending makes no sense. The first two episodes of The Acolyte are incredibly contradictory. The series uses a mystery to set up the remaining 6 episodes, but with the mystery resolved, or let's be honest, it never took off, the show has little meat left. The objectives are mostly complete, and the reason for revenge, the sisters' deaths, have been resolved too. At this point, the twins should just talk. They can team up and fight the Sith and leave. There's only 1 episode of content left. Why stretch this out to mid-July? The series is incredibly expensive too, with rumors of the show costing $1 million per minute. The Acolyte will be another waste of money for Disney and a waste of time for the audience. Now, you should have noticed something. We've reviewed the episode without getting into the agenda of the show, but if you thought it wasn't going to be addressed, you've got another thing coming, Mr. Halford. The Acolyte isn't very good, and you don't need to pick apart the politics of the show for it to be an utter embarrassment to Star Wars. This show is terrible before any of the wokeness comes in. However, that's the funniest part of the series. What happens with a lot of these woke, or as I call them, terrible shows, the creators behind the series aren't very talented. Their lack of life experience is informing the series, and it shows. Life experience makes for better stories. Leslye Headland's most interesting life experience comes from the time she spent working for this guy, but The Acolyte isn't gonna go there. Now on the flip side, Ian Fleming created James Bond after his time in World War II. You think there would be authenticity of the topic without Fleming having served in the war? Bond wouldn't have stuck around if that were the case. Fleming based 007 on his life, and his life was pretty exciting at times. Leslye Headland's life experience is, I'm a gay woman. That's as deep as the show goes. And for anyone who thinks that's hyperbolic, these are the creator's words just hours before the show went live on Disney+. The Wrap released an interview with Leslye Headland, who is a lesbian, and main actress Amanda Stenberg, where the interview and the duo rejoiced with how gay the show was, noting it would be a talking point. It only got more cringe from there. Stenberg declares nerds are gay, and Headland openly said that with delight that people have told her it's the gayest Star Wars. I think Star Wars is so gay already. I mean, have you seen the fits? We'd be like, look how gay this is, and then send another reference photo, Stenberg further explained. At that point, Headland declared that C-3PO is gay and R2-D2 is a lesbian. I wish I was joking, but that's very real. Clearly, this interview is intentionally antagonizing fans, or trying to be. The adults at Lucasfilm think they're attacking male fragility and all that happy horseshit, but they forget that this show isn't above criticism because it has a gay showrunner or a gay agenda. This show is terrible outside of any agenda. It's a mystery that reveals the mystery before the characters even react to it. It's hollow, it's poorly acted, it's bad. Not once in our review did we bring up the agenda. Once again, a show sold on the agenda blows up on the launching pad because it's bad. Quantifiably bad. There are articles trying to praise it as groundbreaking, but those are just as hollow as the show. Outside of the gayness of Star Wars for June, this show acts like a Leslye Headland therapy session. She discussed the importance of her sister a few years back, but if her relationship is anything like she's written for the show, I'm gonna call her Lena Dunham instead. There are deeper issues here, and the people who make these shows think Star Wars is their place to vent about their issues, be them men, or sisters, or anything. They forget that the audience doesn't care. The audience cares about Star Wars, not the creator's personal issues. With week 1 of The Acolyte behind us, we're one step closer to it being done, which is great for the sanity of WCBS. We'll be back next week in this format to discuss the show. I do want to tell everyone watching that I'm going to be making a video discussing the gay baiting article because antagonizing fans does one thing. It turns them away. And if the rumors about next week's episode are true, then Star Wars is dead. Thank you for coming to my eulogy. The Acolyte has the same problems that other Disney Star Wars creations face. The villains aren't bad, just misunderstood. The plots are thin because the characters are poorly written self-insert characters and they can't grow because they're based on real people who refuse to grow. The plots don't hold up to minimal scrutiny. The series is too dumb for adults, but too boring for kids. And why are these shows with predominantly minority casts boring? When the white showrunner is worried about diversity first, you get lame minority characters. The Jedi, save for Squid Game, are all lame. Yord is a buffoon. The women are lame. And what's with Spock? The Star Wars equivalent of Jambi the Genie is here with all the acting talent of a Rubik's Cube. Fans don't need to complain about diversity. The show was created with diversity first, and it shows. I'm supposed to be catered to here, but it stinks, and I don't like it. So folks, tell me your thoughts about The Acolyte. Did you like it? Did you watch it? And what did you think based off this video? Let me know. Those are your 3 questions for today. While you're here, click the subscribe button with the bell turned on so all of our videos can come directly to you. If you want the greatest Star Wars parody since Spaceballs, even greater than Disney Star Wars, well then check out Stealing Solo, the link is in the description below. But if you want something that makes fun of the political climate of the entertainment world and the modern world itself, well then check out Wokebusters. It's available for a limited time, and it makes fun of the wokeness and outrage that follows. Got outrage? Call Wokebusters. Both of those projects were written and drawn by me, so if you enjoy this video, you'll enjoy those books. I'll be back next week, same world-class time, same world-class channel, same world-class bullshit. So join me there, because it's much more fun than actually watching the show. So folks, thank you for watching. We're going to end the show the way we always do. Be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other. Stealing Solo asks the greatest what-if question of all time. What if a group of disgruntled Star Wars fans kidnap Harrison Ford and force him to remake Star Wars in their basement? That, and a whole lot more, is answered in Stealing Solo, a Captain's Parody. Stealing Solo has been called Laugh Out Loud Funny and the greatest Star Wars parody since Spaceballs, and it's available now for a limited time only. Go to stealingsolo.com, which is powered by Shopify, so you get the reward-winning safety and security, and get yourselves a copy today. Once we sell through this limited backstock, I'm going back to the drawing board to bring you the sequel, which parodies Luke Skywalker's fall from grace, and finally the closing chapter, which I can't wait to get to, Frankenfisher, the Bride of Solo. And yes, it's exactly what you think it is. So folks, the only way to get that is go to stealingsolo.com right now, get yourselves a copy, and enjoy the greatest Star Wars parody since Spaceballs.